science standardizes, art specializes or differentiates. Science has got methodology, science has got structure, art is all a mesh, and art is really what differentiates. And so there are plenty of books, plenty of thought papers out there that talk about art of networking. What I want to focus on today is the science of professional networking. I noticed a lot of us over here come from an IT background or from a consulting background or professional services background. So I would assume a good number of us are already on LinkedIn. Who's on LinkedIn? How many of us feel confident about the quality of their connections? All right. That's very consistent with what the web has to say, what the internet has to say. Making connections these days is just a matter of clicking a button. But then to be able to take that to a point where you can actually drive value out of it is a whole ball game altogether. Is a whole different ball game altogether. So I was reading a very interesting article a couple of days ago, which talked about the different aspects of professional networking, and I found it fascinating because it gave me a different dimension as to how I would evaluate the net worth of my network. And what it talked about is that one's network consists of three categories of people or groups. You have the operational networks, you have the personal networks, and you have the strategic networks. And what that means is operational networks are the ones that we almost all of us make at workplace as we are working on a project, on day-to-day activities, with our immediate peers, with our immediate subordinates, with our immediate bosses. The focus is very narrow. It's one project, one set of activities. It's needed. Don't mistake me. I'm not saying it's not needed or it's low in value in any case. It's certainly needed because you need to succeed on a day-to-day basis. That's operational networking. Further from there is personal networking. And what personal networking is about is it's very discretionary and external to your organization. It's a network that you build outside of your immediate organization that you belong to. And it calls for some level of self-realization for what are some of the attributes, some of the skills that you want to enhance. Toastmasters is a great example. We all are here because we have identified a certain trait, a certain attribute that we all want to excel at. And that is communication. And that is great. Personal networks are great because it lets you connect with people in a different perspective, and it helps you enhance your skills either based on people expertise or a platform like ours, which is collaborative. So that's great. But what really sets people apart is strategic networking. And we in corporate America are so fond of the term strategy. Strategy is floated around like nobody's business, right? So what is a strategic network? And for that, what we really need to do is take a look, not the immediate next day, not the immediate next month, but far apart for what our long-term vision is, and then work backwards from there. Saying if this is what I want to do 10 years down the line, this is what I'm wanting to do in my career down the line, and mind you, this is all professional. I'm not even talking about personal networking here. How do I work backwards? What are the people that I want to connect with? And so once you have identified your goals, it becomes very easy to say what are the people that I want to connect with that can help me get to that end goal. And with that in mind, then look around yourselves. Look around and look around your operational networks. Look around your personal networks. They might be operational and personal in certain contexts, but they might be strategic in other contexts. So it is very important. That's the starting point. Look at your existing networks. Don't just label them because Sachin said so, that this is operational, this is personal, and then they all commingle. They all commingle. It's about the context. A connection can be personal, can be operational in a given context, strategic in another context. So you got to look at it in entirety holistically. Then is the idea about in this day and time of social media, there is this idea about inbound networking, and what that means is leveraging social media. We talked about LinkedIn, using social media to kind of convey thoughts so that people come and network with you, and that way that is more reliable, one, because that is more efficient use of your energy, and that is also making sure that sets a filter attracting the right people because of what you're projecting. So that's how we can. There's generally the talk about that digital media and the social media has somehow watered down the quality of networks, but this is how you can actually leverage social media to enhance the quality of your networks. And then certainly there's outbound networking. You go to events, you speak with people, and then you make your connections. And more than anything else, be willing to give and be willing to share before somebody else can offer you something. I mean, just a couple of days back, there was someone who just offered me, who just sent me a note saying, here are a bunch of reports, I thought you'd be interested. And I was like, this is great, tell me, how can I help you? And he hasn't come back to me yet, but guess what, if he comes back to me, would I not want to help him? I would certainly want to return the favor. So old is gold, the old rules still apply. Give before you can expect, whether it be inbound networking, whether it be outbound networking. So with that said, this is a framework, the three classes of networks that we talked about. This is a framework that is helping me a lot to evaluate my net worth of to evaluate the net worth of my network, and hopefully it helps you also, Mr. Toastmaster.